Thank you for listening to this very first episode of the Welcome to Fatherhood podcast. I became the father of a beautiful, strong, and healthy Black boy on Tuesday, May 26th, just one day after the public and unjustified execution of George Floyd was captured on a bystander's camera. While this podcast is not political in nature, Mr. Floyd's death has made me wrestle with the notion of being a Black father raising a Black child in America. And already, only a few weeks into fatherhood, I find myself telling my newborn to love himself, to love his skin color, and to love his Blackness, while also warning him of a world who will one day perceive him as a threat if nothing changes. The episode you're about to hear is a conversation between two Black fathers. My guest is Mr. Tyre Williams, and he's a friend. I recently became aware of a sentiment he shared with his wife, a revealing comment he made about his sons and the way he views them in relation to the subject of being Black in America. So, this is the topic of our conversation. While there are many positive and joyful aspects about fatherhood, there are many scary and painful ones as well. And I feel that as a new father myself, I could not launch this podcast without first addressing this topic. So, what you are about to hear is a conversation between me and my friend Tyre while we raise Black children in America. I admit being a novice at podcasting, and so during this episode, you may hear some instances of audio interference, but I guarantee you that future episodes will not have this problem. And so I am kindly asking for your patience and perseverance until the end of this episode. Just the final thing, I want to thank you again for hopping on this fatherhood journey with me. A very special thanks to my friend Jeff Tatarchik of Fruition Lab at fruitionlab.org for helping me turn this dream of having a podcast into a reality. To my wife, I want to say thank you for allowing me the time and space to work diligently on this project. And finally, to my son, for giving me the greatest joy I have known to date, and that is the joy of being your father. Thanks again for listening. Without further ado, welcome to Fatherhood. This is the Welcome to Fatherhood podcast. I am your host. My name is Kelly. I am here to remind you, however you're listening, wherever you're listening, that as dads, we're just like moms, except we're dads. Welcome to the very first episode of the Welcome to Fatherhood podcast. So when I walked out of the hospital that Friday after my son was born, I had no idea that the world had shifted into a completely different world than the one that I left when I walked into the hospital the Tuesday before. So I get home and, of course, I'm excited. I have a newborn. He's doing well. My wife is doing well. And we had our own nightmarish Friday once we left the hospital, as unfortunately we had to put our dog down as soon as we left the hospital. So I was not aware of or focusing on social media or anything that was happening outside of what was happening within my immediate circle. And it was not until that Sunday As a matter of fact, not even that Sunday, because that Sunday was my wedding anniversary. And so that following Monday, almost a week after the fact, that I started to learn about what had been happening, the reason why people were upset, the reason why people were protesting, why my social media, in particular, Facebook, was about to erupt. And understandably so, it's because, yet again, another Black body was discarded in an inhumane way without any justification. So, following the many conversations that were taking place on Facebook amongst people who I regularly keep in contact with and people who I only keep in touch with thanks to Facebook, I read the comment of a friend's wife. What she wrote that he revealed to her struck a chord in me. And so I decided to call my friend Tyre and ask him if he was willing to have this conversation with me. And thankfully, he graciously agreed. So I will be including excerpts of our almost 2-hour-long conversation just to give you a sense of the nature of what we're talking about. So Tyre was born in West Philadelphia, West Philadelphia, born and raised in 1980. And he still lives in Philly. And he has 2 children from a previous marriage and 1 child from his current marriage. This current marriage has been married for 5 years, and his children are his firstborn, Diamond, who is 21 years old, D'Angelo, who is 12 years old, and Ethan, who is 6 years old. I asked Tyre to talk about what it was like growing up in West Philly. Did you grow up in a diverse community, or was it pretty much okay?
Yeah.
Talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. So in Clifton, it was pretty diverse. There was our neighbor. We had neighbors of all different races. We had neighbors that were Armenian. They were actually good friends of ours. They lived right above us where we lived at. We also, I went to school with a lot of big diverse. When I moved to Clifton, it was big diverse. That was the first time I really seen all types of races, whether it was Asians, whites, Caucasians, and just every aspect of racial dynamic you could think of was part of this school. That was the first time I was in those type of schools. And I remember actually having my first crush was on a white girl with curly hair.
I see you.
Yeah. So I remember that, and I did something pretty bad that I kind of regret to this day. Like I kind of broke up her and her boyfriend by lying because I wanted to get with this girl. So I told her that her boyfriend was cheating on her, and come to find out he was actually doing it. I didn't even know for a fact, but I come to find out he was actually messing around on her or whatever the case may be. But it was something I remember, man. I never even got with the girl. So that was even like the more sadder part. I was always in the friend zone when it came to her. So I can't remember her name right now.
I hate being in the friend zone, bro.
Oh man,
that's the worst place to be in.
It's the worst. Always the worst. Especially when you're digging a girl. Especially when you're digging it, man. I was like, damn, I'm in the friend zone. But yeah, that was. So that was the first time I really interacted with different races at the time of my. I think I was about. 8th grade, 6th grade, I was about 13 years old, something like that. I mean, yeah, between 11 and 13. So, and then going into high school was even more. It's like, wow, it's even like more people, more diversity. And in the Upper Darby High School was crazy diverse, man. I mean, I couldn't even think all the nationalities that went to that school, which was so crazy.
When was the first time you personally experienced an instance of discrimination?
The first time I can truly remember was probably in high school. Before that, I was oblivious to it, thinking that that's just what it is, that's what people are, or whatever the case may be. It never really dawned on me this was a bad situation. But the first time I remember, it actually might have been before high school because I can remember 2 incidents. I'm thinking of a high school incident and a middle school incident. I'll I'll talk about the middle school incident first. So when I was in middle school, we had Clifton Heights, and during the weekends, it always was a curfew. The curfew was, I think, it used to be 11 o'clock. It was 11 o'clock was curfew for anybody under like 16 years old or something like that. So I remember going to a festival, a Clifton Fest. It was a Clifton festival. I left there knowing I had to be home by like 11 o'clock, or I think I was supposed to be home by 10 o'clock, whatever my mom told me to be home. So I remember on my way home, and I was just walking home by myself, and I was around the corner from my house. So I was turning the block, and then I just see this cop pull up onto me, sirens blazing, and the cop just got out and said, "Put your hands up, just put your hands up and get on the car," or something like that. I can't remember all the words that actually happened, and I was just so shocked because I didn't have no idea what's going on.
How old were you?
I was about 13 or 14, I believe. Yeah, around 13 or 14. It could have been my first year of high school. I can't remember exactly the age. But anyway, so I remember him handcuffing me, putting me in the back of the cruiser. At the time, I didn't even know what to say. And then he told me, like, he kept me down. He said, I'm going to the police station because I fit the description of somebody that they're looking for. Somebody who was doing something after the whole festival that they had or whatever. So I was like I was crying. I was like, man, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. Like, I didn't do nothing. I said, I'm right around the corner from my house. Like, I wasn't even involved in anything. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So anyway, he took me to the police station, actually outside the police station, and whoever this person was who thought that it was whatever it was me that did something, actually pointed me out and said, yes, that is him. So I'm just sitting in the police car like, you gotta be kidding me. My mom is going to kill me. That's all I could think to myself. Was like, my mom was going to kill me. Not even thinking about what actually was transpiring at the time.
So hold on. So someone identified you as the person that the police was looking for?
Yes. Yep. Somebody identified me as the person. Yep. So
Did you get to see the person who identified you?
I couldn't really tell because it was like really dark. That's what another thing it was like so dark, and the person's like looking inside a police cruiser, like at just of course you see a black person, you're going to, like, well, you probably would say that's probably him.
Sure.
It was really dark outside, and we were outside. We weren't even in the police station. It was like outside the police station, and it was a young lady. I can't remember her face, and it was a young white lady, and she just pointed out and said, yes, this is he's one of them, or something like that. She said, or whatever. So I was like, oh, like I said, all I can think about is my mom's going to kill me. So we get to the police station, and I remember being the holding cell. They ran my fingerprints, or they took my fingerprints, and next thing I know, I think my mom came and they released me to her. So at the time, I still was confused about what was really going on. My mom never really said anything to me, and I never really questioned it. So at that time, I was like, okay, I guess nothing was really. It wasn't me. They found it wasn't me, or they called whoever it was. So again, at that time, I wasn't thinking like, "Dang, what is going on? Like, this is racial. This is like racial discrimination. This is what is always going on." Because I never really experienced it really, like hands on, of somebody telling me that I fit the description of something that I know I wasn't. It wasn't me, and it basically was based off because I was my skin color, because I was black.
Mr. Williams also talked about his time at Upper Darby High School, where there were these fights known as race wars, basically blacks fighting against whites. He talked about how after school, things had gotten so bad that police and school security had to separate blacks versus whites, and they were not able or allowed to walk on the same side of the street. And I asked him how he felt during those moments when he was the victim of discrimination or when he witnessed it.
So the high school one, that did make me feel a different scenario, because I seen how bad it just felt too blacks against whites or whites against black, and hearing some of the words and the profanity of I've seen, like, just look at that N word over there, look at that person over there, look at this, like, and I was just like, wow, like I never, even going through school in the hood or West Philly, I didn't even hear how bad. Of course, it's more, my school then was all, I mean, we were all black and everything like that, but just the profanity and the words against us, like saying like we're dirty, we're just ugly, N words, this, that, and the other. I was like, I really try to stay my distance from it. I do remember somebody one day we were walking and there was a bunch of people fighting and somebody hit me and I wound up being in a fight or whatever, and something like that. But I try to stay far away from it as possible, not even going different ways, not even trying to walk where everybody else was walking, or okay, I'm walking over here with the blacks, I'm walking over here with the whites. No, I walked my own street, like I went back roads or whatever, because I didn't want to think about those situations. I didn't want to think about why do white people hate me based off of nothing I didn't do to them. But like, why are you hating me? I didn't do anything. I'm not that person that you want to fight or whatever the case may be. But I guess in their minds or in their mindset, it was everybody was fighting against everybody. If you were white, you were fighting against blacks. If you was black, you was fighting against whites. So that's just how it kind of transpired. It made me feel bad just by hearing the vulgar language and just how we were perceived as we were the trouble. And it seemed like it was. I remember one incident. It was a good friend of mine who got arrested. He wasn't absolutely doing anything. By the cops, they said, "Oh, we're arresting you because you look like a troublemaker."
So has there been a time? Has there been a time when you were with one of your kids and you alone or the both of you were victims of discrimination?
Yeah. Actually, can think of an instance. Actually, two. Ironically, actually, one happened yesterday. Which exactly I want to talk about that one first because that's the one that's really in my mind. I was um I was up in Jersey visiting my son. Uh, that's been a back and forth thing with me and his mom and trying to get things together. So anyway, I went up there to spend the day with him, just to go walk, talk, just chill. Whatever I wanted to do. So we were walking. We walked all the way around the area. His mom lives out in like Port Norris, New Jersey, wherever this is. It's like I don't see nothing but white people over there. I've maybe seen two black people the whole time I've ever been out there. But it's like a ghost town. Like you'll never see nobody almost. Like almost every time I ever went there, you would see like tumbleweeds, like you're in a field somewhere, you see tumbleweeds flying. Like is it like a wild wild west, man. I'm like, where the people at around here? It used to be like it's ghost town over here. So anyway, I was there. He said, "Oh, Dad, we're gonna go for a walk." Because I went up there, I cut his hair. Then we went for a walk. So we walked around. He said, "Dad, it's gonna be a long walk. It's gonna be like an hour and a half." I said, "Oh, I'm good. Daddy can walk for an hour and a half. I can't run. I can walk for an hour and a half." So we're walking around the neighborhood. Like I see a couple people, couple white people. They're speaking. Hi, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? Okay, keep on going. Just walking. Not really paying attention to nothing else. So then we get to a shoreline, and my son said, "Yeah, we usually stay right here and just taking the breeze of the water and stuff like that." So we did that. We were just chilling for a minute. Seen this white guy. He was in the truck, and he looked over. First, he looked at me. Then he looked at my son. He didn't say anything. He just turned his truck on and kind of like left from this, I guess, the same area we were going to be into. So he just like kind of left. So I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, you're right to do whatever you want to do. I'm not going to think about anything. So went over there. We just stood there and just was talking a little bit. Then we headed back toward his mom's house or whatever. He said, "Dad, we're gonna stop by this holy place. They got these good water ices. We're gonna go get the water ice or something." I said, "All right, cool. Let's go do that." So we went around there. We get to there. He goes, "Oh, Dad, I forgot my mask. We can't go in without a mask." So I said, "All right, well, go ahead, go get your mask." Like his mom lived like literally right around the corner from where this place was at. So he ran to the house to go do that. I pulled my phone out. I was just looking at some messages, and I heard a truck ride by, and I heard just like voices. Whatever. I don't know exactly what they said, but I know I heard the N word. I heard "go home" and probably some other profanity words or something. And I'm the only black person out there, so I know that was directed towards me. I'm actually again happy that my son didn't witness something like that. You know what I mean? Just because he wasn't there, and he was actually on his way coming back because his mom lives that close that he was coming back because he was like running so he can be like faster or whatever. I told him like not worry about running. So the first thing that crossed my mind when that happened was I look up, I see the truck speed off. All I could think about cowards. You're cowards or whatever. Like why? Like why do you have to do that and be a coward about it? Fine, okay. So they sped off or whatever, didn't think about it. So I'm looking around, I'm like, nobody was there. I was the only one outside and I was waiting for him to come before I even went to the store or whatever. So I'm just sitting there. So he comes back. I was like, yeah, something I want to talk to you about because I haven't really talked to you about these things that's going on in the world. If you understand what's going on, if your mom tried to get you to understand what's been going on out here, but I just want to let you know that it's that I love you very much, and there's bad things in this world that I'm hoping that you'll never have to see. So he's like, Daddy, like, what are you talking about? I said, I was honest with him. I said, it was a truck just went by, and it was 4 men that came in, and they yelled bad things at your father. He was like, really, Dad? I'm like, yeah. And it's something I never want you to experience. I just want you to know that or whatever.
Have you had the talk with your son D'Angelo? I'm not talking about birds and the bees. I'm talking about the talk.
Actually, no, I have not had the talk with him. No.
So yesterday, that incident that you just spoke about was the closest you've gotten to the talk.
Yes. Yes, pretty much. Because I don't think he will maybe even fully understand. I mean, even though he sees it and sees, but I don't think he would fully understand. Even though, you know what, I should give him more credit in that, and I should give him an opportunity to sit down and talk to him because honestly, he's been racially profiled himself. Honestly, being of white skin.
So it's interesting for you and your situation with your sons because, and I'm focusing on your sons based on the question that I'm about to ask you, because your sons don't have your skin complexion. And a couple of weeks ago, your wife shared on social media a snippet of a conversation that the two of you were having. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to share what you said to your wife during that conversation and what she ended up sharing with the rest of the world by posting it on social media. And I think that that is such a telling thing that you said. Her post reads, I'm writing this post because of a comment my black husband said while having a conversation with me on Friday night. I want to share. I thought I fully understood his hurt and everyone else's hurt, and I'm not sure even if I entirely do, because I could not say anything to him. My husband is hurt, like many of us are. I share his sentiment. I want to write a long post, wanting to share everything I think, yet I think sharing what he said to me is more than enough. And I do want to add that if you're my family or friend and you're making excuses on why people treat people of color a certain way, then you are part of the problem. And I really don't care who gets offended or not. This is what my husband said to me, and I'll leave it at that. Quote, I'm glad that my two boys do not have my skin complexion. End quote. What do you mean by that?
Oh man, it was. I believe it was the Friday when I believe the protesting started, the week of George Floyd's murder, and I'm not even sure why that came to my mind, or why that was the first, because that was the first time I ever had that inclination, even through the years of seeing what's been going on and everything that the Black community has been through. And for some reason, it just came to my mind that I'm glad that they don't have my complexion, because I've seen just a little bit of things I've been through. Nothing up to what the murders that's been happening to the Black community, but just the injustice that I have felt, that I've seen, and I just can't imagine my boys having to go through that. And just like you said earlier, I'm not trying to dismiss my daughter. She's Black, a beautiful Black princess. I love my daughter to death. The reason I'm saying my boys is because it seems more cared to the men of Black communities that are being destroyed. And I don't know if it's a conscious thing that's why it's happening. There are many women out here that have been murdered by the police or injustice. Plenty. I know that it's just the majority of what I've seen or what I've witnessed or heard is of Black men. And even though my sons have my blood running through them, for them not to go through that struggle of being judged based off of their skin, for the most part, not having to answer questions or even ask me questions that I can't even answer for them. Why, Daddy? Why do they hate me so much because of my skin? Why do they hate you so much? I think that's why I'm so scared to really have a deep conversation with my oldest son. Even my daughter, I'm not saying I haven't had a conversation with her, but I haven't had a deep conversation like I'm actually having right now with all the injustice that I've seen, all the injustice that I've been through, all the misinformation or mistaken identity, or you fit the descriptions, all the things that the Black community constantly are going through. I can't see my boys going through that. I don't want to see them go through that. I pray every day that they'll never have to see anything happen bad to me when I'm going to work or coming home from work or anything like that. And it's ironic that I don't even talk to my oldest son about it, but I don't even talk to my younger son about things. And I can see in him that he worries about me. Like just the way his demeanor is to me, and I'm talking about Ethan, his demeanor towards me, his Daddy, I just want to call you, say I love you, like just the smallest things, and how much he thinks about me as his father. And I wonder if he's just as worried as I am. And I hope that he doesn't worry that in that instance, but I don't know. It's in my mind that I just want to come home to my children. I just want to come home to them. Like I can't have them go through the same things that this community is going through and I've been through. Just can't.
In the many conversations that I've had with my newborn, one of the most important things that I have been teaching him already is that the reason why he is such a strong, such a beautiful Black boy, it's because God in his infinite wisdom decided that this was the best way to send him to us, wrapped up in beautiful black skin. And I've told him that he is created in God's image. And as being an image bearer of God, that he ought to love himself. And also, because of the fact that we are all created in God's image, even those who may one day hate him for the way he looks or perceive him as a threat because of the way he looks, they too are created in God's image. And so my message to him is this: because you're created in God's image, and everyone you see is also created in God's image, don't be so foolish to hate someone for how they look. For by doing so, you would be hating God's image, and thus you will be hating yourself. I just hope he gets that message. I hope we all got that message. And I wonder what it would be like if we all saw each other that way. If we all treated each other as something as sacred and beautiful as God's image.